Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today on It's Armageddon, we are talking about what if you could only save 3 stories from each Doctor, and we are doing our final round of that when we are on Doctors 11, 12, and 13. So basically, if the world was ending, it was Armageddon, and you could only save 3 episodes from the 11th, 12th, and 13th Doctors. Which 3 would you pick and why? For me, for starting with the 11th Doctor, I would start off with his first story, the 11th Hour. It is my favorite story from the 11th Doctor, and I think it is the best post-regeneration story, objectively speaking. My second favorite, but objectively the best. And I really just like Matt Smith in this. It does such a good job of establishing the Doctor-companion dynamic and why they're so close. Already at the end of the episode, that's a really neat trick of using kind of the Doctor as her imaginary friend, basically, from childhood to go ahead and establish a bond with them, especially on the companion side. And it does a good job of introducing Rory, who will become more important later. I think Matt Smith has the perfect balance here of serious and silly. I wish he'd kind of maintained this balance throughout his entire run. And I really love the scene when it shows all of the previous Doctors and then him stepping through the hologram and telling them basically that he's the Doctor and they should run. I love that. That's magic to me. Like, by the end of this episode, I was already like, I like this Doctor. I really like him. He's so self-confident throughout this whole story. He is so self-confident, and I am so there for it. Ooh, my sinuses. There we go. My sinuses are a bit up today. Next on the list is Day of the Doctor. I like Day of the Doctor. It's a good multi-Doctor story. Not the best, but a good one. I would save this one, because it's longer. 2, because we also get more Doctors in it. It would be another Tennant story we get to save, basically. And we get John Hurt's War Doctor, who is amazing in it. And it's just, I think, a pretty good story. Not the best, but it is a good story. It's nice to see the Zygons in. It's good to see Kate back. I do like Clara with the 11th Doctor, so it's fun to see that. We get the cameo with Tom and the wonderful scene at the end with all of the Doctors. It's a nice story. Again, not the best, but I definitely think it's one of the 3 you need said saving of his. And then for the third one, I went with Victory of the Daleks. I've talked before about how much I like Victory of the Daleks, and I think it's underrated. And 2, it's just nice to have another Dalek story. Well, it's nice to have a Dalek story where the Daleks win, basically. They achieve their goals, and they end the story better than when they started the story. How often does that happen in Doctor Who? And they managed to trick the Doctor. And plus, it's got some really good performances in it. Matt Smith is great. I love when he's mad at the Dalek and just banging on it. That's awesome. The guy playing Churchill, I really like him. He's good as Churchill. And I love the rapport between the Doctor and Churchill. The fact that they're old friends and old buddies. I really love that. I'd like to see more of Churchill in the show, honestly. So yeah, I would keep that one. I mean, there's several other good ones I could have picked and put on here. The Doctor's Wife was one I definitely thought about putting on here. But I like Victory of the Daleks, I think, more than most. And so it just had to be on here for me. Plus, I think it's a good story, objectively. Moving on to Capaldi. Gonna start with Heaven Sent. Gotta have Heaven Sent. Even without Face the Raven, so you don't quite have all the context, I think Heaven Sent stands pretty good on its own right. I mean, it's pretty much a one-man show with Capaldi. The directing is wonderful. The imagery is wonderful. It does a good job of scaring you and building suspense and making you wonder what's going on. And then the payoff at the end, when you figure out what's going on and it shows you what's going on, is fantastic. The music in the story is great. I absolutely love the Shepherd's Boy theme. I have that on my iTunes. It's a phenomenal piece of music. Very epic. And again, Capaldi just gives such a good performance here. I think it's probably one of the best Doctor Who stories ever made. It's a shame that the episode right after it didn't live up to that, but Heaven Sent itself is amazing. Next on the list for me is Thin Ice. I've talked before about how Thin Ice is my second favorite Capaldi episode after Heaven Sent. It looks really good. The BBC is very good at doing historicals and making them look just perfect. It looks really good there. When you see them walking around on the ice, you'd swear that they're there in Victorian times. I like Bill a lot. She's a great companion. Her and Capaldi are really good together, and I like that this episode she really kind of figures Capaldi out more. That he's more than just a professor. And that, he's seen people die, he's had to kill people. That whole conversation between them about that is just gold. I love when the doctor punches the one guy in the face. He's like, we're going to be diplomatic, and he ends up hitting the guy in the face. That's great. I really, really enjoy Thin Ice. And I think it would be good to preserve it just because it shows just how good a historical can be done in modern Doctor Who. And then I went with the Dr. Falls two-parter, World Enough in Time and Dr. Falls, for my third one. Part of me wanted to go with Twice Upon a Time because I love Twice Upon a Time, but I feel like the two-parter is more important. It just does so much so well. I love the Mondasian Cybermen design, so it's good to see that here. Everything going on with the Doctor and Missy in this story is good, and then bringing the Master into it is just superb and phenomenal. And this is my favorite version of Sim's Master as well. I really like him here. He acts more like the Master. And I like how the Master and Missy turn on each other. That's wonderful, very fitting for the character. I love the Doctor's speech to both of them right as they walk away. That's phenomenal. And then everything that happens with Bill is just tragic and sad and really well executed. I just really like this two-parter. And then I absolutely love how the ship is caught in the black hole and how time is moving at different speeds from one end of the ship to the other. That's just a fascinating concept. And the way it's utilized to kind of show a possible genesis of the Cybermen is really, really good. I really enjoyed it. And then moving into the 13th Doctor. First on the list is Eve of the Daleks. I really like Eve of the Daleks. I think it's one of the best Dalek stories we've had in a long time. It's really, really good. I love the Groundhog Day concept. It's easily my favorite performance of Whittaker as the Doctor. I really like the characterization of the 13th Doctor in this story. She seems very in control of the situation and very much figuring things out on the fly very well. Her characterization is done so much better than most of her run in the show. So this is the 13th Doctor I wish we'd had more of in the series. She's done really well here. And again, I love the Groundhog Day stuff going on. I like both of the guest actors, I think, do a good job. I like the Dalek with the Gatling gun. I think that's pretty cool. And how the Daleks talk about how they've learned and adjusted with the sonic screwdriver. I'd stopped you before, correct, but we learn. I love that. Really, really well executed story. Really, it's good on paper, and I think it's directed very well. Next on the list was the Spyfall two-parter. I really liked it. The Master reveal was really good. Not quite as good as Utopia, in my opinion, but really, really good. I didn't see it coming, so I enjoyed that. Love the kind of James Bond stuff going on there. It does seem like a nice little adventure. And it's got Stephen Fry in it briefly. And I love the concept of O as a character, of someone the Doctor was kind of friends with a previous adventure that we hadn't seen years ago. That was pretty neat. And the payoff to that is really neat. So yeah, I enjoy the Spyfall two-parter. It was a lot of fun. For third place was a little tricky. I had a couple I wanted to go with. Like I wanted to put Fugitive of the Jadoon on here because I enjoyed that one a lot. But I ended up going with the Tesla episode just because I really like the Tesla episode a lot. A lot of that is down to the guy playing Tesla just doing such a good job. But he nails it, and then the girl playing his assistant nails it. And then our main cast, for the most part, are fine. I do think Whittaker does a pretty good job as the Doctor in it. So yeah, I have to say the Tesla episode for the third choice. And that is the list of which 3 stories I would save from each Doctor. That rounds that out with all 13 Doctors now. So I would like to know what you think of the stories in this video and which 3 you would pick in this situation. So comment down below and let me know, because I always enjoy hearing from you guys. Other things to do: click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me that way. There is a link to my Patreon down in the description below. I want to give a very special shout out to 2 of my top tier patrons, the 5th Doctor and Stephen Crane. I appreciate their support, just as I appreciate the support of all of my patrons. I also have a P.O. box down in the description below if there's anything you'd like to send me, and a link to my Amazon wish list as well. But most importantly, I just want to say thank you for watching.